And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I am Michael DeLon. Today I'm talking with Lauren Bayne. And Lauren, thank you for squeezing me into your schedule and spending some time with me.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. This is going to be a great conversation. So Lauren is here because Lauren helps you create what she calls a brag-worthy brand. And when I read that, I thought, that is awesome. She's got to be on my show because branding is so important because it helps build that identity and separates you from everybody else. Kind of like Apple. Apple's a brand and it means something to the audience. So we're going to dive deep into brands, being a brand worthy brand and all of that. But as we get there, Lauren, tell me, how in the world did you get doing what you are doing today?
Well, thank you, Michael. I think, honestly, it goes all the way back to when I was a little girl. I always had this budding entrepreneurial spirit in me. And so when it came time to wanting to be a babysitter, like some girls do, boys too, in your teen years, you need to go out and let people know about the fact that you're a babysitter. And so I didn't want to do it different. I didn't want to do it the same way everyone else was. I wanted to do it differently. So I thought I'd put up a sign in my neighborhood, but I wanted to kind of tap into that emotional connection of what drives you to needing a babysitter anyway. So it's typically parents that want to go on a date night. And I thought, what if I said, save your marriage, go on a date? And that was my headline. And that was the beginning of how I started marketing myself. And I had my little phone number at the bottom of it. And it kind of tapped into that real human connection that until, later when you reflect on your career and where you go and how you grow through your journey, it made sense that this is kind of how I was from the get-go when I was creative, when I was a little girl. So from there, it went on to the ice skating routines that maybe I didn't win for the axles and the jumps, but I definitely won for creative expression, doing a Pee Wee Herman dance and dressing up like Pee Wee Herman and doing that on ice. And so I just started noticing that creativity was always there. But when I went to college at the University of Texas in Austin, that's where I really saw this coming into a place of a profession. I thought I wanted to do broadcast journalism. I wanted to be the news anchor and I wanted to report on the news and be in the know and tell people what's going on. And so at the communications college, you have to take a course outside of your major. And so Intro to Advertising was the course I took. And I really honestly didn't know much about advertising. It never really occurred to me, how do billboards and commercials get done? I just assumed the business owners created it. I didn't know you hired an agency or you had somebody internal. I didn't know anything about the business. So I'm taking my intro to journalism class and my intro to advertising class at the same time. And that professor saw in me, he's like, you're really good at this. You do it really fast and you're very creative with how you sell these products. Did you know that this could be a career for you? And it just didn't occur to me. So once I got into it, it felt very natural and comfortable as well. So as I pushed forward, I was like, maybe I should change my major. And that's what I did. So I changed my major to intro to advertising. And at the University of Texas, they have Texas Creative, which is a separate sequence that you apply for to get into, that they teach you the craft of advertising through the creative lens. So you may already know all this, but an ad agency has multiple departments, but the creative department is who comes up with the ideas, who concepts how we're going to take the strategy department develops for that business and turn it into creative assets and expressions that hopefully in the end form brand loyalty and drive conversion and gets the customer knowing the brand and buying the brand. And so that's the long story of how I got all the way there. And that's what I've been doing for the last 25 years.
I love it. I love it. What a great circuitous route all the way from childhood, which is amazing because a lot of us have those visions and dreams and then they go away. So you pursued yours. That's awesome. All right. So let's talk about that. And I love your headline, right? Save your marriage, because that grabs people's attention. It's like babysitting, go on a date. What? But so many times business owners forget that it really is, it's the headline, it's the offer, it's that brand that sets you apart. Because Lauren, you know this as well as I do. So many business owners look like and sound like all of their competitors. And there's nothing to make them stand out, where a brand can really help somebody stand out and communicate some things. Is that fair? Is that what you found working with people?
Yes, and I think it's a top-down decision. So the founders, the people that start this business from the get-go, you kind of have to, if you're selling this brand, you need to, that's where I've always gone. I've gone to the very, very top to see who is starting this and what is their mission. If it is just a mission to make money, and there's no desire to have a brand or have an emotional connection from the top down, then that might be a business that never really desires to stand out. And so I don't usually jive as much with those kind of
Yeah.
brands, because they're using data and metrics and marketing and different ways of selling the product, and they're fine. They can do their thing too. I think if a founder from the top down has a real purpose and they're a real purpose-based or purpose-driven business, that they all want to make money for sure, but they want to stand for something more. You know, one of my mentors, Roy Spence, he wrote a book called It's Not What You Sell, It's What You Stand For. And that really resonates with me. That's the lane I usually play in when I work with brands, and I work with product, services, or personal brands. I start with their why, and then everything comes out through there. So if the why is what you're selling and you want to stand out and you want to resonate, why not have your creative expression to do that for you as well? It's just another way people can love and adore your brand. And it's what I say is also like your brand's curb appeal. When you're walking down the frozen food section, why do you stop on Ben and Jerry's and want to consume that packaging more than maybe Haagen-Dazs? You know, they sell the same product, but there is a difference between that brand experience. And so it can't hurt to creatively express your brand. That I've found, it can't hurt to try to stand out a little bit more. Now, you can be too clever sometimes, but when you can do it and wrap it up where it emotionally resonates with your target audience, that's what I do. More power to you.
Absolutely. Well, and you said a lot of things. I love curb appeal. That's a neat phrase. Realtors always say curb appeal for a house, but curb appeal for a business is the same thing, because it
Mhm.
does it makes your audience kind of stop and look and turn their head and go, that's interesting. Ben and Jerry's is a great example of brand, because when you say that name, I immediately start thinking of things that resonate with Ben and Jerry's versus Breyers. I'm a big Breyers fan. Different brand, different meanings, both great. And so if you're an attorney, if you're a plumber, if you're a financial advisor, what is your brand? What's your personal brand? Because I
Mhm.
know you've got some passions around that. I do too. Because here's one of my marketing philosophies is people buy who you are more than what you do.
Yes.
And that really is a big, long way of saying you need a brag worthy brand. Because so
Yes.
so talk about how do you work with business owners who might be bland and they really need to have a great brand.
From brand to brand. Yes. In what I do now is as I work with a lot of like refreshing and refining of brands. A lot of the startup brands are different. That's a different level of service. I work more with brands that are kind of revitalizing or refreshing. I also am now working with exactly what you said. It's not what you sell, it's who you are. Is that, if I said that correctly? That is more imperative now than ever with AI and with the ability to duplicate brands out there and to really study like what made a brand work. The who you are and the people behind the brand matter more than ever. And so how I work now with brands is as a fractional creative director, direct to brand, whether it's a product or a service. I've worked in agency settings with Fortune 500s all the way down to local startups, but where I see my zone of genius is really working with you, with what you're trying to sell, and try to figure out your why, and then encapsulate that through strategic development, through strategy, then through development, and then the execution of those assets. And I oversee that to make sure that your vision is actually getting out there. So I use the analogy a lot with like, why do people, if you're the type of person that would hire an interior designer to create your dream decor, or an event planner to create your dream party, or a general contractor to create your dream home remodel or renovation, that is what I do for you. Why would you not have the same person for your brand, your dream brand? And so, because I've been in so many facets of the business and I can see your vision and help take it to life, that's what I do now. I oversee the execution of these assets, or even just the development. Sometimes I'll work with people just to give them ideas that they can take internally and do something with,
Right.
or we'll follow it all the way through to execution. So, I call it a fractional creative director is how I work right now, because that's a newer term, and that's really what I'll be, your back pocket when you need it. I'll be there right there in your back pocket when you need creative direction for your brand.
That's awesome. And let's unpack brand just a little bit because I think people are confused about it because so many times we think Procter and Gamble, that's a brand. Well, yes, it is. So is it a logo? Is it your color? Is it your wording in your message? Is it all of that combined? When you talk with business owners about a brag worthy brand, unpack just a little bit about pieces and parts or all of that. I mean,
Mhm.
what is this thing?
Right. So the brag-worthy brand that you will love and your audience is kind of how I've written that, because when I'm working with these businesses, a lot of times they just want to do what their customers are going to want and what's going to convert and what they're going to sell. But that's kind of a short-term win.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to sell a brag-worthy brand that you're also proud of, because to go back to your point of being a personal brand, if you're going to represent this and be on the street talking about your business, you got to love it too. And so you need to have the same thing that grandmas do when they open their wallets and they want to show off their grandkids. You want to show off your brand. And so you want to say, look, that's my billboard, or this is my website, or check out my business card, or look at this experience, or we had this event. I want you to be as excited about your brand and how it's being shared with the people as your audience is with the brand that they experience.
Yeah.
So a brand is your perception. It's the entire personality. It's what people should feel as though you've walked into the room. So I have my clients treat their brand like a person. And we don't do traditional brand archetypes. I do more like brand celebrity. That's what I do with my clients. I'm like, who are you as a celebrity? Because that's a really quick way people can know, are you Meryl Streep or are you Betty White? Are you Jim Carrey, or are you, I'm thinking of somebody
Pee-wee
else.
Herman, right?
Yeah, exactly. That quick, like, I get it. I know who I am. You help figure out, like, who do you want your brand to be known for? So that overall perception. So yes, your example of Procter and Gamble, that is a brand because it's been a legacy brand. There's a long time it's built up knowledge of what people know, but a lot of the people I work with don't have that legacy and those years and years and years of reputation for people to know what the brand is. So they just know them as a business.
Right.
And if you are, to your example earlier, you said attorney, if you are an attorney that is so well known for the service you provide, then you have already created a brand in yourself just because of the service you provide. But that takes a really long time. So all your other assets and everything else people experience about your business is the brand. It's everything from your name, from your taglines, to your visual aesthetic, to the colors you choose, the fonts, the typography. And I do get a little bit on a soapbox about templatizing this stuff, because I see such a templatization of brands nowadays because it's fast and easy and it's a quick way for businesses to get their message out there. And it can work to some degree. But I think that the value of investing in how you stand out will be a longer play for your business. I think people will know who you are faster when you don't already have that legacy audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to dive into the attorney thing, right? Because attorneys, personal injury attorneys or estate planning attorneys, that's like Procter and Gamble. But Procter and Gamble was brilliant in that they are a big brand, but they have multiple brands under them. So Tide, that's a brand under P&G, right? But
Right.
we don't walk into the store and say, "Where's your Procter and Gamble dish soap?" No, we say, "Where's the Tide?" But they also have Gain. So, I mean, they're competing against each other with different brands. It's just so brilliant. I think they own like, 30 of the top 50 brands in America because they're so smart around branding with a name, colors, and then their commercials reinforce the elements that I'm a Tide person because I resonate with these things that Tide does, right? And that's what you help business owners do with their own personality or their company is make it easy for somebody to say, I work with this attorney because I connect with them, right? They're a bicyclist enthusiast or they're a family person or whatever it is that your brand puts forth because, and I think what you didn't say, but you said in between the lines is your brand comes from within you, right?
Mhm.
It's not like you come to a company and say, "Here's what your brand should be," because I said that. No, it's you're eliciting it by who the big shots are at the top, how they operate, and how they want to present themselves to their audience to inform that perception. So, I mean, is that right?
No,
Oh,
that's exactly right. And it's the old theory too of like, are you a branded house or a house of brands? And I think there's the business modeling of that is true. Procter and Gamble could have had Procter and Gamble laundry, Procter and Gamble child. You know,
100%.
they could have had verticals, and they're just always like they always sold Procter and Gamble. No, they have had big Procter and Gamble anthemics back in the day where people just wanted people to shop their brand, just their house of brands. But yes, they're very much like the hotel industry where you have Hilton, but then you have all the different properties below it, Hampton, yeah, Canopy, all those different brands. Then there's the example of the Graduate hotels, which is another one I really love. The Graduate to me is a branded house. And so they have all their locations, but every single location you walk into, you know, is a Graduate property. So that's
Mhm.
the difference there too. So if you're a personal injury firm, and you're a personal injury firm and you have all these different attorneys below you, maybe every attorney has a different discipline. Maybe every attorney should have its own brand. And
Yeah.
maybe there's something about it that makes you be the one-stop personal injury firm, because then I'm like, I'll go to them when I get in if they specialize in crosswalk injuries.
Right. No,
And this
totally.
one's just rear enders. This guy is like really good. If you're rear ended, you go to that guy. Then now you're a personal injury firm that has every single type of personal injury that could ever happen to you
That's right.
within them. Otherwise, or it's just personal injury. This guy kind of does it all, or this one. But yes, I think that you're spot on with the difference between having a branded house and a house of brands.
Yeah, I think that's great, and obviously Lauren knows more about all this than I do because she just did this thing just right off the top of the head, and it's but that's why I would encourage you as a listener to go and find out what Lauren can help you do. Talk real quick, Lauren. I mean, this sounds like a crazy long process where we're going to have meeting after meeting after meeting. It's going to take 9 months. And talk a
Yes.
little bit about how do you help small business owners create this? What's just at a high level? What's kind of the process, timeline, things of that nature, and then we'll talk about how do they get a hold of you.
Okay, great. So the first thing I do is what I call a dream catcher call. Do you know what a dream catcher is?
It's one of those things that's from the ceiling that spins or that catches the rays of sun. I think my daughter had one that I ran into the other day. I'm like, what is that? I think she told me it was a dream catcher. Is that
I
it?
don't know the actual origin. In fact, I should know the actual origin of it. It's more like I thought it was this Native American net, and it's
Okay.
round and has netting and it has little feathers that hang from it. And I think it's just kind of a legend too. You hang outside your window, and it's supposed to like catch your dreams, and it just like
Ah,
holds on to them. And I definitely need to have a better
very
definition for what they're for, because I kind of already know what they're for, and they can be kind of kitschy and they're kind of different and fun. And so I thought instead of just saying, let's have a discovery call, let's
yeah.
have, I was like, I want to have it. I want to catch your dreams. That's what I want to do. And that is truly what I love to do. That is when I discovered what drives me and my why. It is so much when I talk to people like you or anybody, people with businesses that want to share it with the world, or people with a passion or a gift that they want to go give back to the world. I want to help people do that. And so I begin with the dream catcher call just to find out, what are your dreams? What do you have? What are your dreams for this business? It could be, I just have a Christmas party this holiday season, and I need your help executing what we could do, something like really tangible and easy. Or it could be something huge and big, and it could be, I just need to get started. So all the back and forth meetings that you alluded to, that could happen if there's a huge project. But normally it's just very simple, and I've got it boiled down to, let's just see where you are in your journey. If you're at the very beginning, then we're going to need creative strategies. So we'll have some strategy sessions to road map out where we're going. Next would be development. So it's three places: strategy, development, and execution. Some people already come in with strategy. I work with this awesome company that does a lot of strategic development with personal brands. They've already got all that messaging, everything figured out. Now they need to bring it to life. So we work on just the development of that. So then from there, it's the execution of those assets. And then we just figure out, is it just your website and just your logo? Or maybe you need a whole entire brand kit. So I don't sell just a deliverable, because I think there's more to a brand. It's more holistic than that. So I do a lot of auditing in the upfront to see where we're at and where we want to go.
Love it. I love the dream catcher meeting because there's a marketing principle right there that I hope everybody caught is you named something. A discovery call is so boring. Right? But a dream catcher meeting, oh well, let's go check, right? And so naming things is really important and it becomes part of your brand. Go to Lauren's website and she'll tell you where it is because it's really a different, fun website and it captured my attention and I dove through different pages and went, this is so fun. It's different and it makes you memorable. And that's part of a great brand. So, Lauren, how do people find you, take the next step, learn more about you? What's the best place for them to go?
My name. So laurenbayne.com, LAURENBAYNE.com. Yes, it is definitely a site that represents me, and I wanted to make sure it represented me and it gave people a feel for what it's like to work with me while also differentiating in the category. And so to talk about standing out, that my brand icon is a unicorn, because maybe I'm a unicorn, but also I uncover the unicorn in brands and people too. I think all of us have our own unique, magical, mythical self. And so brand iconography for me is the unicorn. And that is something that I also try to have the brands I work with develop within themselves. What is their brand icon? What is their message? What do you want people to feel and know about you and take away from you? So I hope that your listeners will take away that I am here to help anybody with an entrepreneur, with a business, with a brand, a product or service, or just their personal brand, get out there in the world creatively and help express them. And you can visit me at laurenbayne.com to find out more and just book a dream catcher call with me.
Absolutely. I think it would be a dream come true to work with Lauren. It's funny as you did your name. You said LAURENBAYNE, and you know what immediately came to my mind
What?
is I don't know if you grew up watching the Mickey Mouse Club, but the
MICAEY.
MOUS. So you have LAURENBAYNE,
Oh
Laura,
my gosh.
Laura Bain.com. I just think you could put that to a song, and it's so memorable that my audience is going to be singing your name now, and they're going to send me emails going, "Dawn, you did it." I just think that's amazing. That's what popped into my head. I just
That's
wanted to share.
adorable.
Mickey Mouse has a great brand. Lauren Bayne has a great brand, and she can help you create a brag-worthy brand for your business. Reach out to her, check out the show notes, re-listen to this podcast, and see how she can help you create a brag-worthy brand. Lauren, thank you for being my guest and for helping business owners.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
You're welcome. Take care. Everybody, listen again next week for another fantastic episode of Experts Speak. Take care and God bless.